Hello everyone, this is Greg from Mystery Honey. Today is absolutely miserable. So I've decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare some feed, and I'm just going to feed the bees that seem to be hefty and light. It's going to be a nice and easy day today. I'm not going to risk opening them up when it's raining, unless I really need to, but I think that I'm just going to be happy just feeding them if I can, if they need it. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make some food out of some excess honey. So when you're doing the extraction process, you end up with some excess honey that can't go to people. So sometimes you uncap a frame that has brood in it by accident, and it's really gross. You just put that to the side and let it drain out. Or if you've got some really horrible looking frames, sometimes the frame bursts and you scoop it out with the spinner and just throw it into the in the box where you're going to melt the wax down. So I've done that, and I'm going to show you now. Hang on. So pardon the mess, but this is my wax melter. It's a steam version from a bellow. I've put some of this bubble wrap that's foiled around it just to make it a bit more insulated, so it warms up a bit faster. And inside here I've thrown the wax cappings and all sorts, and some bits of frames and old wax and stuff like that. I've thrown it all in there right now. What's happened is, over the past few days, actually a week since it's been in there, all the honey that was left in that comb has drained into this. So I'd probably say there's a good couple of kilograms in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed that back to the bees. I would not want to give that to you guys, just because it's a bit dubious where it came from. So I'm going to feed it back to the bees. They'll take that in and they'll convert it back into honey, and they'll love it. So what I'm going to do is get a bucket. Here's a bucket with some honey already in it, and I'm going to pour this into there. So I haven't got my stand on me, so I'm going to have to do this one-handed. So this is going to end in tears. So here we go. I balanced it precariously. Lift it up, and then I'm going to pour it into there. So this honey now is going to there. I'm just going to flip it over and just let it do its own thing for a little bit. So the issue with having honey out in the open like this is that you can get bees coming in robbing it, which is obviously a problem. But also you can have issues where you'll get these little fruit flies flying around. It's best, if you have any open honey like that, to get it out of the house ASAP before these flies appear. Right, so let's have a look at you. Oops. So the good news is that it didn't fill the bucket, because if it filled the bucket we'd be in trouble. There's a bit there. Don't worry about that, we'll water it in a minute, and that'll get rid of the rest of the honey. We'll pour some water into that and mix it up. Right. So yeah, we're outside and found the microphone now. Understand. So, as you can see, it's still got a lot of honey in it. Oh, so just leave it there, keep it draining. Now I cheat because I've got a hot water hose pipe, or rather a hose pipe attached to the hot water tap. So I'm just going to let it warm up, and then I'll use it. So yeah, this is hot water. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn that down a bit, just because I don't want to be spraying it everywhere. Just give the outside a quick rinse in case it got a bit of honey on it. And then there we go. Now when you're doing this, there's no ratios to be sticking to. You're just trying to liquefy the honey a little bit so the bees can get to it. Try and get as much as you can, and don't worry about the honey in there, we'll stir that in a second. Right. That's the majority of honey out of that. Most of it's just wax now, so I'm going to turn this off. This pot is virtually clean of honey, so I'll move that out of the way. And then just use a stick. I usually use this for stirring paint, but today it's going to be used for honey. So as I push it down, the majority of this is water, and then when it gets to the bottom, it's pretty sticky and hard. So I'm just going to stir it around. I want it to be a pretty even consistency throughout. You'll be able to feel the difference on the bottom. You won't be able to feel any resistance on the bottom. It's just started to rain, so I'm getting a wet back now, but that's fine. So all we're going to do is we're just going to hand this back to the bees. Once the honey's fully dissolved, we'll take it to an apiary, put a feeder on some hives or nukes that are feeling light, pour this in. Then all the bees need to do is just put it in the cells and dry it off. It's already honey. So a little bit of resistance on the bottom. I'm going to keep going. The check is to run your finger on it. Still feels like it's like honey on the bottom. It's sticky and tacky. It means that they've still got honey on the bottom. Whereas if it feels liquidy like that, then it means that all the honey's probably been dissolved. We've got a nice tan colour like that. FYI, this is another way of making mead, if you want to make some mead. If you want to make mead, you just leave it like that, and it'll start fermenting on its own. But what we're going to do is we're going to take that to the bees, so they can take it in. Right, I'm going to go get a lid for it, and then we'll go to the bees. Make sure it's sealed, because you don't want it falling over in the car and throwing honey water everywhere. Right. So, I don't know if you can see or hear, but it's absolutely hammering it down. I was going to get absolutely drenched being in my bee suit. I'm not in my bee suit now. I'm wearing my normal t-shirt, so I've just taken the hood off and I've tucked it in. So hopefully if bees do come out, and they go straight for my head, they hit the mesh of this and not me. So from what I remember, these two nukes were really light on food. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give these guys my honey that I've just liquefied. The way to do that, I'm just going to show you one for now, is you take the plastic cover off. These are the Maize Moore ones. So what you have to do is just grab some old cloth. So that was part of a bed sheet that I tore up into little strips, and that was part of a t-shirt, as you can see. All you want to do is you want to give the bees something to grip on when the liquid comes through. And it's also useful if that something that you put down soaks the liquid up as well. So that's why I use cotton mostly. You can use hay as well. Hay's really good if you want them to finish off the whole area, because it takes up a wide space. So you just grab a bunch of hay. Say they've taken up the majority of the honey mixture up, but there's like a bit of liquid about. It's too much to just let them have loose at it, because they'll go into it and some will drown. So what you do is just get a pile of hay or sticks and just shove it in there, and the bees will have something to stand on while they soak up the food. Anyway, so I'm going to get 2 feeders, one here, one here, and then we'll get honey in here. Now, because I'm not wearing a bee suit, chances are bees may fly up my jacket and sting me, but we'll see. I just when the problem with those really thick suits that I've got, the sting-proof suits, is that they soak up water really, really readily, and it's a pain in the ass to get them dry again. Right, I'm gonna pull everything super tight though if I can, because I don't want anything going up my shirt. Right. Oh, right. I brought the bucket of honey mixture. I brought a smoker because I'm definitely going to be needing that. And let's hope that I can get this all done without getting stung. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift this, break the seal very gently, and then because I'm a bit more vulnerable than usual, I'm going to smoke under the lid first. So smoke under the lid and then put it back down. Now what will happen is that the smoke will just hang around the top here, and it'll hopefully push the bees downwards. So I'm going to do that a couple of times. You can hear the bees already buzzing. And then, there we go. So that's kind of worked. Oops, there we go. So as you can see, the bees are out the way now. There's some bees up here. I'm just going to give them a little tap. Like that. Try and get them out. And then I'm going to put the feeder on, like so. Now, unfortunately, it's actually quite warm today, but because it's so rainy, the bees are already starting to cluster. So they're not really wanting to escape and cause harm to me. I see that as the bees flying around my leg. Oh, they can smell the honey, that's why. Okay, so that's that one done. So now the bees can't come up to get me. This feeder is in the way. So I'm going to do this one. So remember what I said last time? I'm going to come to your side to show you from your side. So as I said, I'm going to lift it gently, like that. Couple of puffs. Puff, 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 and then down. All the smoke is in the top bit there. Wait for a bit longer. Puff, 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 puff. Wait a few seconds to work, and then I'm going to lift the lid off very gently. There's still some bees in the lid, but it's mostly worked. Right, I'm going to tap the bees in. Like that. Some more on this side. And then I'm going to put the feeder on. Now, bees don't appreciate being opened in the rain. They're not happy to be opened in the rain. So doing this means that you've now got another level. You can open the lid up, have a look inside, and the bees don't get troubled. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add some of that honey mixture to them and let them know, oh, it's here. So first off, what you do is you pour the honey mixture in. If you can open the lid, there we go. Right. So when you're pouring, pour from the centre, like that, because sometimes you miss. Like that. Now we're fortunate that it's actually raining, because that means that the bees surrounding us won't smell the honey very easily, and it won't cause robbing on these colonies. Okay, that's that too. Ooh. Okay, so we've got quite a bit left over. I'm just getting smoked out. Let's move the smoker a little bit. So as you can see, both of these feeders now have a lot of food in them. The water is still kind of warm. It's not super warm, it's fine though. The bees are already starting to pay attention to the smell there, but a way of tempting them up is to lift up that, dip your hive tool in and just sort of dribble it down. Like that. What that'll do is the honey will dribble down the inner feeder where the bees come up. The bees will lick it and go, "Ooh, there's honey water over here," and then they'll make their way up and start feeding. So I'm going to do the same here. So just going to splash it like that. It's nice and easy. Okay. So that's quite a lot of honey water. Now the majority of this is water, so I did add quite a bit too much water to this, but it's fine. The bees will still sup it down, and they'll either use it to draw out any foundation if there is in there, or they'll store it, or the bees will do what they need to do with it anyway. But nothing to worry about. But we've done our job. We've fed them, we've given a bit of food. There's about a litre in each one of those. That's about half a kilogram or whatever of honey. Cover it up. And then find another one that needs feeding. Turns out these two nukes also need feeding as well, so... Oops, slipping. Going to be careful with these ones as well. So remember, blow some smoke, close it. Blow smoke, close it. and lift and see what the damage is. Still quite a few bees in the lid, so I'm just going to tap them out. Oh, and then we're going to close them up with the feeder. So there you are. Sorry, I'll do the same with this one before I feed them. So the reason I don't just leave the feeder open, or rather leave the food open, if the bees are flying about, then they will unfortunately fly and start robbing it out. So a lot of them can start drowning, which is a bit horrible. So yeah, let's move this feeder over here, just make it a bit easier for me. Right, lid off. Oh, this one's quite strong. Still running out of food though, so because the weather is atrocious. There we go. Ah, has it got some brace comb? Stop it. Oh, this has got brace comb. Also pay attention to the bottom of your feeders because they can end up having brace comb as well. So just going to cut this off. Right, stop. Try again. There we go, it's better fit. Okay, so we'll feed these guys now. See if we've got enough honey water. If not, then I'll just use the another feeder. Let's not smoke out the bees for no reason. Okay, so there's not that much honey water left now. So I'm just going to finish off in this one, like this. And then I've got some other feed that I can use for the other one to build them up. Right. So this is Inverb. I did sell this last year, but didn't get a huge amount of interest from it, to be honest. So I just decided to keep it for myself and use my own bees. So this is an inverted syrup, or an inverted sugar syrup rather, and in essence it's pretty much honey straight from the tap for the bees. They don't need to do any processing with it or anything like that. They can just take it straight down into the comb and seal it. And the best thing about it is that it doesn't go off, or it doesn't ferment like a lot of other feeds, like sugar syrups. So it's pretty good in the sense that they don't actually need to cap that honey, or they don't have to cap the cells that this is in. So it's really good for them. It means that they've got food all winter long with this stuff. It's really good. I really highly recommend it. Right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tempt the bees up into the feeder. Now, I've put my hive tool somewhere and I don't know where to put it. I'll put it over there. Something. So, what I did before, lift it up, grab your hive tool and just drizzle it down. A healthy drizzle. And that'll get the bees to come up. Now, because these are nukes with queens that are yet to be mated, and the weather is absolutely atrocious, try not to feed the nukes too much. There's two reasons for that. The first reason is that if the queen doesn't come back after being mated, then it means that you're not filling up just random brood frames full of invert bee or food that you can't use until next year. It also means that you're not filling up all the comb before the queen that's just come back from being mated has a chance to start laying. Because if she comes back and she's got this new superpower that she wants to use, this laying ability, and there's just no space, then it means that you're not going to have any winter bees for this colony, and it's probably just going to die out super fast. So try your best not to fill them up with too much food. So bees are already coming up onto this one. This is a particularly strong nuke though, so I wasn't surprised. Or I'm not surprised that they are. Okay. So I reckon in a few days all of this food will have gone, because the bees are really good at scooping up food. That's about a litre. And yeah, I think that's me done for you guys, really. I've got some bits and bobs to do. I've got to do some tidying up. There's nuke boxes and roos and bases and stuff like that everywhere. But it's not great during the rain because my phone's getting soaked. So on days where it's wet and miserable like this, once you've done your feeding, if you really need to do the feeding, I would just leave it. Otherwise, there's other things you can do. So you don't have to worry about swarming. The bees aren't going to swarm at this time of year, or if they are, it's very rare that bees swarm at this time of year. Any queen cells that you find, it'll probably be more than likely a supersede cell. Just keep an eye out. If you only find 1 or 2 cells, knock the worst looking one down and leave the one that looks the best up. That queen will emerge and go out and get mated in between the deluges, and yeah, you'll have a new queen by the next year. But as a bee farmer or beekeeper, on horrible days like today, where it's hammering it down, there's other jobs that you've got. So you can do what I'm going to do now. I'm going to go home now and I'm going to melt down all that comb and cappings and all the other guff that I've collected throughout the year. And I'm going to refine it down into a wax that I can then refine again and again until it's lovely, and then I'll use that to make some beeswax wraps, and I'll also use it to make candles as well. So that's one job I'm going to do today. I'm also going to do some cleaning as well, because I've got some equipment that needs cleaning. I've got lots of little jobs I need doing, but what I'm trying to get across is just because it's raining doesn't mean that you're not a beekeeper, that you've got nothing to do. There's always little niggly things that you always put off until a rainy day, and unfortunately when it hits autumn, today's a rainy day. So yeah, I'm going to go home and mess with the wax melter. Right, I'm back home in my rather messy garden. This is the thing I was showing you before, where the honey was pouring out of. This is the 70 litre stainless steel wax melter that a bellow sell. It's a really good piece of kit, although it does have issues with staying warm. It's very thin steel, so it will lose its heat pretty fast. So what I've done is I've wrapped it with this bubble wrap, as I showed you before, foil bubble wrap, just to give it a bit more insulation from like the wind, because usually I do this in the depths of winter and autumn, and it needs as much help as it can get. I also put some polystyrene insulation over the top, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to go through it. So right here we just have, it's not secured down this lid. It's a stainless steel lid with a tube going into, this attaches to the Lyson steamer there. Now this is just exactly the same as you'd get with a wallpaper steamer, so don't feel like you need to get one of them. Unfortunately the one that I got, or the one that I had originally, broke, so I thought, right, I'll just get the Lyson one as well. Don't worry about that yet. So inside here there is a metal cage that looks like it's made out of queen excluder material. Let's see if I can lift it. And that's where you put all your wax. So inside here I've got all my cappings and comb from throughout the year. I've also got some frames that are broken as well. Yeah, so at the bottom here it's got some legs just to keep it lifted up. And underneath here it comes with a stand as well. So this is a really good piece of kit. You can put all the wax in here. The wax falling off that melts and drips down doesn't block the other wax from getting out, because it's inside its own little cage. So this is a really great piece of kit. I really like it. The bellow do really good kit, it's just usually it's very expensive. Now one thing that it does come with that I think is an absolute piece of crap is this. So it comes with this tray. This tray is barely big enough for anything, and it rusts like there's no tomorrow, as you can see. So what I did was I found these aluminium cappings from a conditioning company. These go onto these are like caps that go on the tubing that they use while transporting. But these are actually really good because they're flexible enough that when it creates a decent seal around the edge, all you need to do is wobble it and you can break the seal. The aluminium as well, so it means that they don't rust. So that, and I've got a cooking pot that we don't use as well, which is also good. But I prefer to use this for the initial one. So what we do is we put that underneath, line it up as best we can. Just put the lid on, because we're not wanting any pressure in here, so there's no need for this to have been held down with anything, because there's going to be no pressure. We just want a very hot, humid environment in here, so it attacks the wax, and all the wax will drip out through the bottom. You may see some wasps suddenly appear, and that's because they can smell the honey and the wax, and they are wanting to sting me in the face. No, we'll see. Go away. And they're wanting to get the honey fix. Right, so first thing you need to do is fill this up. So I'm going to go do that now. I'll be right back. Sorry, I had to move you inside because absolutely started hammering it down. So this is, I think it's about 2 litre. I've only half filled it because it started hammering it down. And I didn't want to get absolutely drenched without a coat. But that should do for a little bit. You can always top it up afterwards, because as I said, there's no pressure in this at all. It's just producing steam, which will go through the top, and slowly but surely the steam will start filling everywhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to screw it in here, like so. Now, this is a really long thread, so I'm going to get absolutely drenched. Note to self, wear coat when doing things outside in the rain. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm also going to move the steam generator inside the garage, just because it does have electric running into it, and I don't want it causing any issues. So plug it in. It's plugged in. First of all, it comes with a European plug. It's very annoying, so you have to get an adapter like this. I think this one came with it actually. But all you need to do now, let's get out of the rain. So all you need to do now is just plug it in, and away we go. Should start working. So the question is, how does this work? So it works by the steam generated inside the steamer over here, comes up this tube here and into the top. Now hot air rises, so it should stay around the top here. And what will happen is, as more steam is generated, it'll start pushing it downwards, and then the hot water will start settling on the comb or the wax that's in there. And the melting point of beeswax is probably around 40 degrees, thereabouts. I think it's 37, 40 degrees. So that hot water will start to make that wax melt. So it'll melt and it'll follow the water that's cooled and condensed and drip out here, all the way down here. Now, as it works down, it'll probably hit other bits of wax and cool itself down, solidify, but then as more and more heat is generated inside this container, all of the wax is going to be hit at the same time eventually, and eventually it'll all just start dribbling out there. It's a really good way and a really efficient way of getting wax out of dirty comb. So when there's no more wax that can come out, you pick up the cage and you shake it over the bin, and it goes in the bin, nice and sorted. But yeah, so I'm just going to leave this to it now for an hour or so and see what happens. The steam generator has an automatic cut-off point, so if it gets too low, it'll cut itself off. So it's pretty safe to leave on its own, as long as it's outside, of course. And I'd keep an eye on it just in case it does start to spill. Now, I usually have a big piece of cardboard that I put underneath it just to catch any wax that drips anywhere. But seeing as it's peeing it down, that cardboard would just soak it all up. Soak up all the water and just start to disintegrate. So I'm going to have a quick look around, see if I can find something else. But I'll turn it back on, turn you guys back on when it starts dripping. Oh, I've just remembered I've got some more wax here to put in. So I'm going to wear my coat for this. I don't know why, because I'm already soaked. But as I said, don't have to worry too much about the steam right now. When it's very hot later on, that's when you need to worry about it, but for now you don't have to worry. So this is all the comb and stuff that I collected from sites before. So I'm just going to put them in. Get your hand in, scoop it. Doesn't matter how dirty this comb is, the wax will separate from any of the guff. Yeah. Right. Okay, so put this back on. And I'll go get some insulation actually. So I'll just use these, I think they're called pink board. I'll just use 2 of them just to cover the majority of it, like that. That should be fine. The majority of it's insulated. So yeah, now we'll just leave it to it. And it should steam away and start melting wax. I'll continue the video when it starts. So it's been about 20 minutes since I started this going, and as you can see, there's already wax starting to pour out. And it's amazing the difference it looks as well, because if I zoom in, you can see how beautifully golden that is. Look at that. Now, as it falls in, you'll see that it is remelting the stuff that's at the bottom there, and it's not spotless, so you'll be able to see some dark bits in there. So there are some bits of dirt in there, but what you're doing is you're relieving that wax of the really big bits of nastiness, and you're also shrinking down all the comb, because the comb takes up quite a lot of space, and it uses very little wax to take up all that space. So what you're doing is you're shrinking it all down, condensing all that wax into a block, and then what you can do is you can do a second run, which I'll show you how to do. And I use a slow cooker for that, because it means that you're not bringing any other stuff that's inside the container, because I make sure that the slow cooker is clean. But first of all, this is a good start. Now all I need to do is keep an eye on that and make sure that it doesn't get too full. If it does start to get full, then I'll swap it out with the tub that's underneath and let that one cool. As you can see, there's a wasp there. It can smell the melted wax, which smells very much of bees. If you do this when it's not raining, you'll end up with a load of honeybees attacking the wax. But yeah, there you are. I'll show you what I get at the end. Alright, I'm going to attempt to show you how to do a quick change. Ooh. Now the majority of this is filled with water, so don't worry too much if you spill some. What I'm doing is I'm just moving it to the side and letting it go into there. Like that. I'm going to give that a bit of time to cool down and move this one off so it's a bit higher. In time, this one over here that I've just taken off will solidify. I need to drain it, and then I can put it back underneath. So it's always good to have like 2 or 3 that you can just keep swapping. But yeah, this seems to be going quite well at the moment. It's good. Right, it's been another half an hour or so. This is still warm, but the wax has cooled enough. So this is like a honey water now. So what I need to do is find a way of cooling this down a little bit more so I can touch it, pouring it out, and then swapping the pans over again. So I'm going to go get some gloves on very quickly. Right. I have to be quick because that is running out of space. So I'm actually getting quite a decent haul of wax from this. So get some cardboard. So the wax, although solid, in this soft form may damage your bricks if you're doing this. So best thing to do is to pop it into in some cardboard if you can. So I'm going to lift that up. Oop, it's still quite molten underneath. So what I want to do is I'm going to have to get some cold water and just pour cold water in there, and that should cool it down enough. So here we go. Let's see if this cools it down a lot. You can see it going from a pale yellow to a golden yellow there. So that water is quite cool now. And that wax is floating to the top. That's good. That's what we want. So I'm just going to throw this in there. Try and lift this up. Like so. I'm going to keep lifting it and get as much of this wax out as possible. It's got some scum on the bottom, as you can see. Don't worry too much about that. So I'm going to stir that cold water around, and then I'm going to have to try and scoop out this wax as quickly as I can and then drain it. I'm going to quickly drain it and swap it out. Okay. So here we go. This is either going to work really well, or it's going to go absolutely horribly. Actually, there's a thing underneath. There you are, so I can catch some erroneous bits of wax that fall down. And I can put this on top. Yeah. The stress wasn't necessary. As you can see, this has now got a lovely layer of wax forming on the top. It's a lovely golden colour. Generally, with the bits of horrible guff on the bottom, I wait until it's all cooled down and then I try and scrape as much of that off as possible. But for now, that'll do. Just leave it to cool down. This will cool down. Hopefully, it'll cool down in time for that. Well, cool down before that fills up anyway. Right. Let's keep going. So the steam generator has finished. It's run out of water now. Oh, well, it's reached the minimum level, so it means that it's cut out, which is fine. I kind of wanted to go inside anyway now. If you look closely, let's see if I can zoom in. We have some little wasps and little bees smelling the beeswax and no doubt the honey that was on it. So these guys are trying to get into that little hole there, and clearly they're getting there, and then the steam that's coming through is putting them off. It's absolutely hammering it down outside, so I'm really surprised that they are interested in this. I would have thought they'd stay inside their homes, but oh well. Anyway, what I'm going to do now is let it all cool down, let it all stop dripping. There's no way that that's going to fill the rest of that. So it's dripping, so I'm just going to leave it all. And yeah, that's that done for now. I thought I'd just show you what the leftovers look like. So inside there is just dirt, guff, old cell cases, just horrible stuff. So all the lovely wax has now been taken out, so that's great. And this is how much wax I ended up getting. So I think it came to about 5 kilograms in total. I need to scrape out some of this horribleness on the bottom and then refine it again, but it's pretty good for an extremely small fry like me. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Right, so that's it for today. Bit of a rainy day, bit crap, but you can always use what time you've got to do little fiddly jobs. I've done a stack of cleaning of things I've been putting off for ages. I've labelled a load of honey, and I've managed to melt the majority of the wax comb that I've collected this year. So I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the like button. I've been zapped by a bee. If you did, please hit the like button. If you want to see more content like this, or some content where it's not peeing it down outside and I'm actually doing proper inspections, then hit the subscribe button and have a look through my catalogue. Other than that, I hope you have an amazing day and I hope to see you guys soon. Bye bye.